цього тижня відбувся 26-й трирічний конгрес українців Канади. І на початку конгресу вітальні слова натхнення виголосила міністр зовнішніх справ Канади Chrystia Freeland.
Dear delegates, I cannot think of a better way to start the day than by sharing breakfast with Canada's Minister of Foreign Affairs, our very own Chrystia Freeland.
I'd like to start by speaking just a little bit and really reminding us of the importance of the Ukrainian-Canadian community to Canada. I am an MP for University Rosedale, downtown Toronto, but I am originally a proud Albertan, and it is great to see so many Alberta Ukrainians here. Доброго дня! Я бачу також Романа Петришина, я бачу Ярса Балана. Так, треба махати. And so I know very, very well the deep roots of our community in our prairie provinces, of the way that our community built this country literally from the ground up. And I'd like us to take a moment to reflect on that, because of course Ukrainian Canadians made a very physical contribution in turning those unforgiving frozen prairie lands into the fertile farms they are today. But we also made a contribution in creating the multicultural Canada, which I think is such a key part of the greatness of Canada today. Ukrainian Canadians were really the first significant non-Anglo, non-Francophone, speaking another language, large immigration to our country. And really in figuring out how to deal with us, the Ukrainian Canadians, that was the moment that Canada really invented multiculturalism. I think we Ukrainian Canadians, and I as a Liberal, am particularly proud that the formal concept of multiculturalism was announced not at all by accident at a Cook Congress in Winnipeg by Prime Minister Pierre Trudeau. No accident at all. But even before that, Canada's leaders were understanding, thanks to their work with Ukrainian Canadians, that that was the approach we had to have as a country. And I want to quote a great line from John Buchan, who at the time was Governor General of Canada. This was from 1936, and he was speaking in Fraserwood, Manitoba, to a group of Ukrainian Canadians. And he said to them, "You will all be better Canadians for also being good Ukrainians." And isn't that really a core conviction that we all have here? Isn't it really something, Pane Tarase, proszę wstати. Pan Taras is the history teacher at Rydna Szkoła of my children. An excellent history teacher, by the way. And isn't it really that conviction that is the heart of how our community approaches our profound commitment to being Ukrainian, to continuing to be Ukrainian in so many generations, and at the same time to really believing and understanding that by being good Ukrainians, truly, it does make us better Canadians. So, дякую вам всім, дякую нашим вчителям, дякую лідерам нашої громаді. І я хочу також, щоб ми справді усвідомили, до якої міри ця робота нашої громади вплила і далі впливає на дуже-дуже цінну ідею багатокультурності в цілій Канаді, в цілому канадському суспільстві. I'd like now just to offer a few thoughts on what I think is the second really big and important focus of our community, and something that has been a focus for such a long time, which is our support for independent, sovereign, democratic Ukraine. And it is so wonderful to have leaders of Ukraine here with us today. I am old enough to remember a time when we could only dream of having an ambassador from Ukraine with us. And it still gives, it still gives me an absolute thrill to have Ukrainian diplomats, Ukrainian ministers and deputy ministers here among us. Дякую дуже. I think an understanding of the fragility of Ukraine has always also been an incredibly important part of the fierce commitment of our community to continue to exist here in Canada. Lesa mentioned door knocking, and actually on Monday night at about 8 p.m., an hour and a half before polls closed, I was still knocking on doors, encouraging people to come out and vote. And there was one door we were knocking on, and I could see the name. It was Maxim. I said to my team, this is going to be a good door, don't worry about it. And it was spelled like the Ukrainian Maxim. And so I knocked on the door, and sure enough, Maxim was actually wearing a t-shirt which said Ukrainian Film Festival. Я думаю, навіть по-українськи. So I felt a strong sense this was going to be a supportive conversation. And sure enough, we spoke in Ukrainian, but what was interesting is his son, Roman, who was 9 years old, was there with him and spoke with me also in Ukrainian. So we closed the door, and I was with my campaign team, and one of my colleagues said to me, that kid was speaking in Ukrainian too. And I said, yes. And he said, I thought it was just your family that was when you speak Ukrainian to your kids. But is it all Ukrainians? I said, well, there are actually a lot of us who continue to speak Ukrainian. And we got into a little bit of a conversation of why that was. And I explained that certainly during my childhood, when I also suffered Ridna Shkola, as my children do now, whenever we protested and balked, the answer we would hear from our teachers was, їм в Україні не дозволяють це робити, і тому нам тут в Канаді треба. And we had a very strong understanding that, we were the last carriers of the flame, and it was so important for us as a community to keep that Ukrainian idea alive. And I think as a community, we should be really proud that we managed to do it, and proud that our connection is so alive and strong. Дякую вам.